In this video, we're going to install a C4 Fabrications bumper on a second-gen Sequoia.
Stop it. We're not saying that on camera.
Oh, I'm so excited. Our bumper just got here for our Sequoia, so now we got to go pick it up. Let's go! Right, you can see the bumper behind us. It's in the bed. The bumper weighs 226 pounds. I don't know how we're gonna do this, but we're gonna try. Before we get to installing the new bumper, we gotta remove the old one. Our 2012 second-gen Toyota Sequoia has a factory bumper on it, and the factory bumper has some electronics tied to it. We got fog lights, we got parking sensors, and we got a cruise control radar that's never worked since we owned the car. If anyone knows how to recalibrate the speed on the cruise control on these cars, please let us know. As soon as we hit cruise control on the car, it displays a cruising speed 50 miles an hour faster than we're actually going, and it's so annoying because then we can't use cruise control. Let's say we're going 50 miles an hour, the truck thinks we're going 100 miles an hour, and it doesn't enable cruise control. It's so fucking annoying. Anyway, enough of that. I think what we're gonna have to do is pop the hood, pull some of these panels here, access some of the pop rivets, and remove some of the 10mm bolts that are holding the bumper on. Also, we gotta unplug all these goodies that are on the front of the bumper. So let's just do that. We got all the pop rivets that we could see out. Once you remove this panel, you got to remove the cover of the headlight washer first, then you can put it in, and you can remove the panel, remove the pop rivets here, 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 and here. And now we're gonna have to try and attack the 10mm bolts that are in the side of the fender here. Yep, that'll for sure pop your tires, so don't let them be in your driveway. Luckily, I have a nut and bolt and whatever cart here, so I'm gonna make sure everything I pull out goes in that cart. And also, look how rusted that is. Ugh. All right, with those bolts out of the way, it allows me to get inside here and access the inside of the bumper a lot easier. First and foremost, let's unplug these fog lights. I can't see it really. There we go. That was an easy one. This side seems to be done. Now let's move on to the other side. Pro tip, since you're going to be underneath your bumper and everything's going to fall in your eyes, get a good set of goggles. These are huge, but I'm tired of having shit in my eyes when I'm done working on the cars. Actually, I got some dirt in my eye already and it kind of itches. Use these from now on. There is a pop rivet all the way in here. Make sure you just pop that out, and then this panel will come out. Now let's see if there's anything else holding this bumper on. Does not look like it. All right. Great. Bumper's off. Yes. Now we're gonna put this bumper to the side because we're gonna need those sensors that plug into the new C4 Fab bumper, and we don't need anything else out of this bumper skin. And in order to mount up the C4 Fab bumper onto the car, we're gonna have to remove the crash bar. Looks like, I don't know if those are 14 or 16mm bolts, I can't tell, but they look to be very big and very strong, so we gotta pull those off. My car has the automatic cruise control on the side here. Some Sequoias have them in the middle, some have them down here. I don't know all the trims and all the specifics between all the Sequoias. I know some Toyotas even have them in the grill, but for now I'm just going to unplug it and remove the whole thing from the bumper beam. That way it'll give me access to remove the bumper beam. Now it's time to get to the nuts holding on the bumper beam, but before I remove this heavy duty bumper beam, let me support it somehow so I don't have any broken appendages. Alright, the things that hold on, the nuts that hold on the bumper beam are 14s, and I do not have a long 14 open-ended, so I'm doing the good old-fashioned make a longer wrench out of a single wrench trick. I got a 19 linked to the 14. Wow, I can't even break it loose. Maybe I'll just soak these in PB Blaster. Alright, we got the top one. Let's see if we can get the middle one. Alright, it just cracked just a little bit. Alright, I got it. One. The good thing is, on the inside bolt, or inside nut, I could use my super long ratchet with my deep socket head. But these three here, the clearance is just a little too tight. It hits the bumper. Now that we've got the bumper beam off, the next step is to put on the upper bumper cover. Now the C4 front bumper is made for the Toyota Tundra that actually has a factory steel bumper and a bumper cap above it, and that's what this is here. I went and I got this bumper cap from carparts.com. It's about 90 bucks. I painted it on the side of the house because honestly I don't care if the paint is a little orange peely because it's an off-road bumper, so whatever. You can also use the factory bumper and just cut that to fit, but I didn't want to deal with cutting the factory bumper because I've seen some cuts in the middle that have just gone up too high and have bowed. So I went and I got a new part. So I'm hoping all those little pop rivets in the bumper cap will line up perfectly with the Sequoia and we can have it in place before we put the bumper up. Alright, we got the upper bumper cap on, and you could see this one distorted just a little bit after it was on the paint rack. It kind of comes up here, sticks out here a little bit, and then comes back up. And I am hoping the plastic in the sun will kind of find its shape and all this will come out. I really don't like how this bows in, but at this point it is what it is. Get this one in first on this side, and get this one in first on this side, and then all the other ones you can kind of push in and it'll find its groove. The C4 Fabrication bumper comes with its own recovery points or tow hooks, so they recommend removing these from the factory locations. And now we're at the point where it's time to prepare the bumper to be installed. And if you're going to add any lights or your winch or anything like that, now is the time to add it. Otherwise, you got to take your bumper off to add them. I've already went ahead and installed the Baja Design Squadron Sports as my fog lights, and I'm just going to hardwire those into my fog lights. So let's tidy these up. We'll also install the middle light bar, which is a 30-inch Baja Designs light bar, and then we can throw the bumper on the car. Now is a good time to wire up the Baja Designs connections to the factory fog light connection. Now that we got both fog lights hooked up, now is a good time to put the caps back on underneath the headlights. We put it on our quick jacks because this thing weighs 224 pounds and it's going to do the heavy lifting for us, and hopefully it can get close to being in place. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to jack up a corner and put a higher puck on here from the quick jacks on each side, and that should give us the height we need. Before we wrap up the install, I want to show you guys how the bumper actually fits to the frame of the Sequoia. First and foremost, you saw Emily and I just shoving it against the camera, but we're going to be using the same bolts that we took off for the bumper beam here. C4 gives you washers to use for those nuts. Then they also give you another point of contact that utilizes the old tow hooks. Remember how I said hold on to this hardware because we're going to reuse it? But what it does is it uses the factory bolts that go into the old tow hooks. Then it creates a lever arm like this, and you put bolts through here. So not only are you having points of contact up here, 4 bolts, you're having another 2 down here. So each side is a total of 6 bolts holding on the bumper to keep it very strong, especially if you're going to be winching or towing. You don't want these little guys to shear off. You need more contact points. So make sure you install this. They include a bunch of washers and they include a bunch of hardware. This will go through here, factory bolts will go in there, and then you can continue on with the install. But make sure you install this because this is paramount for the strength of the bumper. Also, you no longer need these as recovery points because you have these as recovery points, and you could do D-rings and shackles or whatever you want here. You also have a winch, so make sure you install this because this is 100% needed. Also, one thing I wanted to mention is when you buy your C4 Fabrication bumper, or most bumpers for that matter, it comes to you raw. We coated our bumper in black Steel-It. We use Steel-It for a few reasons. One, powder coating is expensive, adds to lead times, and where we live, nobody wanted to do it. Secondly, Steel-It is actually not paint, it's steel. And when you spray it onto a bumper, you do have some light spots here from our hands, but when it lands onto a raw metal, it bonds with the metal steel to whatever metal you're spraying on. It's not paint, it won't flake off. On top of that, if we ever did, heaven forbid, hit an obstacle or something, I want to be able to reapply at home. I don't want to have to take this off and take it to a powder coater. But now that you know how the bumper fits to the frame, let's continue on with the install, hook up the rest of the lights, and finish out this video. All right, we got the headlights to work, we got the fog lights working, and we're gonna see if the light bar works. Here we go, you guys ready? Boom! Let's see if this works. Boom! Wow, let's see if this works. Oh my God, we got some bright lights. That's amazing. I really like this light bar up front. That is throwing a lot of light. That's my favorite. It pulls 11 amps from the electrical system. That's insane. Light bar, we're at 26 amps. Ditch lights, 30 amps. Wow. Yes, that looks amazing. So stoked. Let's turn this off. Boom. All right, that concludes this video. Thank you so much to Baja Designs. They actually came in and helped because we teamed up with them through my work to release some super limited edition lights, so they kind of paid it forward. You can put any light you want in the front of this bumper, just as long as it's around 28 to 30 inches. There's brackets on the inside that allow you to do that. You also don't have to use Baja Design squadrons. I like them because the holes cut out perfectly for them. You'll also notice we don't have a winch in here. I just couldn't afford a winch, honestly. And there's so many winches out there that I want to do a little bit more research before I trust my life with that device. Sure, I can go and get a Badlands from Harbor Freight, but it's going to require some fabrication. I can get a Warren that requires no fabrication, but that's like very expensive. And then there's a bunch of brands in between. So if any of you have a winch recommendation for this giant beast, I'm sure it's gonna have to be 12,000 pounds minimum, or even 10,000 pounds, let me know. But right now, the only thing that's left to do on this car is get the 37s mounted, give her a wash, and get her packed, and we can head out to Overland Expo PNW. Thank you so much for watching. This was a fun video. I sweat a lot today. It was super hot. But the Sequoia, my God, has totally transformed the way she looks. I'll see you guys on the next one.